Hello, this may be my most requested video of all time. And I'm flattered. People have been asking me to make this video for fucking years, and I'm finally making it. My favorite and most requested books. I'm in my book nook right now in my bedroom that I made. I have a little bookshelf, I have a cozy chair to read in, I have a tree stump with a candle and some roses and a fucking pumpkin. I don't actually read in this book nook. The cats use that chair. Tess, can you not? I might need to get the cats out of my room for this because they just love when I sit on the floor. Let me give you some context. Reading has never been just a hobby for me. It's all-consuming. Reading has been all-consuming since I was a really young kid. I think I've actually found a way to make reading unhealthy just because of like the amount of time it consumes. Let me get the cats out of the room. I think I've managed to make reading unhealthy in my life just because of the amount of reading that I do. I can sit down in the middle of the day and read for 5 hours straight, and it's just like, I've been doing pretty good at keeping it to a couple hours a day. I go through about a book or so a week now. My mom used to have to take away my books from me when I was in like middle school, high school, because I would have just read all night long. Sometimes I would sneak them though, and I would go under my covers with like a little light and read, and sometimes she wouldn't catch me. So I know a thing or two about a good book, let me tell you. I like to read, so I read fiction. The genres I like to read are like pretty dark, twisted romance novels. And I also love mystery books. Those are the two genres that I read. I never stray from those two genres. Usually I go back and forth. I'll read a dark, twisted romance novel, mystery novel. Romance, mystery. But now I'm on like a heavy mystery kick. I haven't read a romance book in like months. Like, for example, like, don't get me wrong, I love a good like Emily Henry book, but books like, romance books like this are very much like, and then I went to the coffee shop and Bae was there, and then we drank coffee and oh my god, he broke my heart. And now we're back together. Like, it's just, you know what I mean? Even like Colleen Hoover, that is just not dark enough for me. I'll get into that. I'll get into what I mean by like a dark, twisted romance novel. I'm gonna start out with the series that changed my life. I'm not being dramatic, I'm not exaggerating. This book series changed my life. I have read this book series 3 times, and I'm not the type of person to reread things. I've read this series 3 times. The After series by Anna Todd. Let's get into it. So this actually started out on Wattpad. I read this on Wattpad when I was in middle school. Then I bought the physical copies maybe like 4 years ago, and I read all of them again. Definitely left after we collided like out in the rain. I can't explain to you like what this series makes me feel. I'm gonna read it again soon. This is romance. To keep things vague, Tessa meets Hardin in college. Hardin is a very broken man, so to say. This is just my favorite vulgar, twisted, heart-wrenching romance novel series. You need to read it if you haven't already. Nothing will ever compare. Let me just say that. After I read this series for the 3rd time, I was desperate to find something that was similar, and I ended up finding this. Beautiful Disaster and Walking Disaster by Jamie McGuire. These are very similar to the After series. I think I literally like looked up on Google like similar books to the After series by Anna Todd, and this came up, and it is very similar. So I was a Colleen Hoover girl through and through. I'll get to that. But what made me fall in love with like dark, twisted, fucked up romance novels was the queen bitch herself, Penelope Douglas. Every time I respond to a comment or a DM like asking me for a book recommendation, I just say anything by Penelope Douglas. Just hear me out on this one. The first book I ever read by her was called Credence, and it's actually like my favorite book I've read by her. Nowhere to be found on my bookcase. I like literally just had a little panic because I'm like, did I give that to my mom? I give my mom books to read. Credence is like not a book I would give my mother to read, so I don't know like where it went. Penelope Douglas puts pretty hefty disclaimers at the beginning of each book because of just like the topics that she touches on in these. They're really fucked up. Like Credence is like pretty fucked up. I go through books so quickly that it's like hard for me to remember like what the books that I've read are even about, so I'm trying my best here. I remember loving this one, Birthday Girl. I don't know what it's about though, I forget. I recently read Kill Switch and Punk 57. These two are incredible. She has quite a few standalone books. This one is not a standalone book, but you can read the Devil's Night series like out of order. It doesn't matter. So I would consider this a standalone book. Same thing with Five Brothers. I think this is the last book I read by her. Same thing with Five Brothers, Punk 57, Misconduct. This is a really good one. These are a series I read. It's called the Followaway series. It was really good. I don't remember it. But if you're into what I'm saying, heart-wrenching, twisted, fucked up romance novels, I highly recommend Penelope Douglas. I think Credence will set the scene for you for sure. Maybe read that one first. Don't come for me, I didn't write it. These books really surprised me. They're by Emily McIntyre. We have Twisted, Scarred, and Wretched. This is not a series. You can read these in any order that you want. They're all based around royal families. But oh my god, these books make Penelope Douglas feel like an Emily Henry novel. This book, Hooked, I don't know where the fuck it is. I like literally lost it. That's the first book that I read out of all of these, and like literally 3 chapters in, I was like, this feels illegal to be reading this right now. Like, what the fuck am I reading? Fucking hell, it's so good. Like, if you're gonna read any of these, read Hooked first. It was my favorite one, and like, I'm glad I read that one first. It just like really set the tone. Sorry I'm not boring you to death with like what each book is about. I'm just still like grasping the idea that people give a fuck. I never thought that anyone would like listen to me ramble about books. That's why I never made this video. So like, baby steps. It may have seemed like I was talking shit about Colleen Hoover. I have read every single one of her books, okay? I love Colleen Hoover books. I was not talking shit about her. I was just trying to differentiate the 2 types of romance novels that I was talking about. Colleen Hoover gets in there for sure, but it is nowhere near like what I'm feeling these days. But I clearly like her books because I've read every single one of them. I'm trying to remember. For some reason, I remember Without Merit being my favorite. I know this is a popular one, but November 9th was incredible. Oh, you know what I love? I loved Verity because in the midst of reading all these Colleen Hoover books, this one is so different than the rest of her books. This is more of like a mystery book versus romance. This book is so good. It's so creepy. This one, I loved Heartbones, and it never really got the recognition that it deserved. Like, I feel like most of her other books got way more recognition than Heartbones. This book is so fire. I don't even remember what it's about. But oh my god, like I think I read this in like a couple hours. I don't want anyone to think that I was talking shit on Colleen's name, alright? I'm definitely a fan. I'm gonna start off my favorite mystery books with a bang. So at Barnes & Noble, I like to shop at Barnes & Noble for my books, or like bookstores versus the library, because my goal is to build my own library. I want to keep every single book that I read because they mean so much to me. And eventually one day I want to have an entire room in my house dedicated to my books. My library, okay? So I have the whole like Barnes & Noble membership card thing, and every month Barnes & Noble has like a pick of the month, and usually I'm like, yeah, I'll take it, because the first time I ever let a sales associate sell me on a Barnes & Noble pick of the month, it was this book. This is called That's Not My Name by Megan Lawley. And this is just one of those books that I could not put down. I read this in one sitting, which happens with other books too, but this one, like, I can't even explain to you the adrenaline that was coursing through my body while I was sitting reading this book. I try to keep my book babbling to a minimum with my loved ones because I don't want to bore anyone, but this is one of those books that I put down and I had to call everybody in my contact list and tell them how I felt. I'll give you a little rundown. So this girl, her name is Lola, she got into a huge fight with her boyfriend, okay? She wakes up the next morning or a couple days later on the side of the road with no memory of who she is, how she got there. She doesn't remember her life. She gets picked up by some police officers. She ends up at the police station. Meanwhile, a man goes to the police station and he is convincing these police officers that he is her dad. He has like her birth certificate. He has identification for her, the whole 9. And they give her to him because he has all of the proof that he is her father, or so he says. And she has no memory of her life. So she is like, yeah, I guess this man is my dad, sure. And when he brings her home, oh my god, like, this book is so fucking good. I can't recommend a book enough to you. Like, if you take anything out of this YouTube video, it is this book. She only has one book and it kills me. Her next book is coming out in January and I will be queuing outside of the Barnes & Noble waiting for that shit. I had a pretty serious Karen Slaughter kick. My mom has one of them right now. What I would recommend to you out of all of these Karen Slaughter books is Pretty Girls. This is a top 5 book for me. This book is so good. If you pick up any Karen Slaughter book, it has to be this one. It has to be this one. She is really that girl. Most of the Karen Slaughter books that I read all involved the same police officers and detectives. You can read them in any order that you want. It's the Grant County Police Department. You can read them in any order that you want. Like, it's not like a thing that you have to read in order, but most of her books have the same detectives. So I really liked that because like I would be reading about different mysteries, but it was always the same detectives, you know? So it was like, oh, I know them. I know Sarah. Yo, what's up, Will Trent? Like, I like knew them, you know? I really liked Girl Forgotten too. This is the first book I read by her, but I was second guessing myself because I think I gave this to my grandma or she read this before me or something, and she was like, oh, I didn't like that book. I couldn't finish it. And I was like, what, grandma? Like, I love that book. So I recommend this book, but my grandma does not. So I'm getting into a new author right now. The author being Freda McFadden, because I read The Perfect Son. This book is so freaky and it itched something so good in my brain. Like, I loved this book. It's like, you'd think I'd have more of a vast vocabulary for a book reader. I say, and like it's so, and like, oh my God. So this book is about a family, the son in particular. There is something so off about this kid. Like, I think he's 16 in the book, but I'm reading this. This is the book I'm reading right now. I love it. I love this book. I have like 2 chapters left. It's pretty much done. I'm gonna open this up and finish it the second I'm done with this YouTube video. And then I picked up The Housemaid by Freda McFadden because I see it's like a little trio series. I see these books every time I go to Barnes & Noble and I've never picked one up, so I got the first one. And it's funny, I picked up this book like last weekend, and then yesterday I was on Instagram and I saw that they're making a movie on this book with Sydney Sweeney and Amanda Seyfried, and I'm like so excited to read this now. But yeah, this is like a trio. I don't know why I'm talking about this book. I haven't read it yet, but I'm excited. I think I'm gonna start it tonight because I'm definitely gonna finish this, and then this will be my bed book. This book is good. I finished this a couple weeks ago, The Night She Disappeared by Lisa Jewell. I don't know how to explain this book without giving everything away. Oh, it's so good. There's this couple, Tallulah. I told you I wasn't gonna explain the books. This is the last one I'll explain. So there's this couple, Tallulah and Zach. Zach, I don't fucking like him. Okay. Tallulah, they have a kid together. They're living at Tallulah's parents' house. With the way the book starts out, like, it kind of seems like they're, you know, a cute couple, a cute normal couple, but, you know, turns out Zach is like super controlling, manipulative, like really weird. She always thinks that he's gonna like hurt her. Weird guy. They go to a party one night. They don't usually like go out and socialize, but they go to a party one night in the middle of the woods. It's called The Dark Place. Well, it wasn't really a party, it was like an after. They went to an after at this house and they were never seen again. And then a year later, this woman and her husband move into a house that's like in the same woods, and she finds a sign in the backyard that says, "Dig here." I highly recommend this book. It's really good. These books are really awesome. These are by Taryn Fisher. I read The Wrong Family first, and this book is really awesome. It's about this old homeless lady that's living in a crawl space in a couple's home. She basically lives in this crawl space and just like sees and hears the craziest things in this house. It's really awesome. And then the wives. This book is about this husband that has 3 wives and they all supposedly know about each other. It's an arrangement that they all agreed on, but they don't ask questions about the other women. They don't know their names. They don't know anything about their relationship. They just keep it pretty vague. Until one day, one of the wives finds like a slip of paper in her husband's pocket when she's doing his laundry, I think, and it has like information about one of the other women on it, and she just gets really curious and she sets up like a coffee date with this woman. This other woman has no idea who she is. She just kind of like lies so that she can like have a friendship with this woman because she's so curious. And then the woman starts showing up to their coffee dates with bruises. I've been rambling about books for far too long. I'm gonna end this here. Again, this is new to me. I never thought anyone would give a fuck about what I have to say about books. I thought that would be like boring, but I feel like a lot of people care. So I loved making this, but I love talking about books. I've always wanted to join a book club because I will read like a really fantastic novel and then I'm like, wait, I have nobody to talk about this with. I like explain every book I read to my boyfriend like as I'm reading it, but it's just not the same because he's not reading it as well, so he doesn't get it. Let me know if you pick up any of these books. Let me know what you think. DM me, comment. I'm so curious. We can talk. If you get one of these books and you finish it, oh my god, fucking DM me and we can talk about it. I would love to have somebody to talk about these with. That would be really nice. If you're not already a big reader, I highly recommend. This year is all about healthy entertainment, okay? My heart is gonna melt if I see anybody taking my book recommendations. Oh my god, why didn't I do this sooner? I love you guys. Thank you for coming to my book club. Like and subscribe if you want. I wouldn't be opposed to the idea of you liking and subscribing. I would not be opposed at all. I love you. I'll see you next week. I haven't filmed like a sit-down video like this in years. I only post vlogs these days. So this was interesting. Okay, I love you. Bye.